So if you live in the Tampa, St. Pete, or maybe Orlando area, you're probably considering what annual pass to get. Well, we've had pretty much one of each of them, so I'm going to break down our experience and give you my favorite one at the end of this video. By the way, my name's Chad Leonberg, and I've helped thousands of families buy or sell their home. And if you're interested in talking with me about the local real estate market, hit me up at the contact info below. All right, so let's talk about kind of the 2-day rule first of all. So basically, every place I feel like I've been to down here, almost, I mean, some of them are 3 or 4 days and some of them are, one, but they have about a 2-day rule, I would say. If you're going for more than 2 days, if you're going for 3 or 4 days, you might as well get an annual pass. Some of these are even 2 days. So that's something to think about. I would say rule of thumb, if you plan on going 3 days or more, might as well get the annual pass. In some instances, maybe 2. And this is for everything. It's something as simple as the zoo or an aquarium or anything you can think of. They pretty much have an annual pass for down in this area. So I'm going to start with Busch Gardens. Busch Gardens is kind of a slash SeaWorld because because there's different levels of the annual pass for Busch Gardens. The cheapest is around 150, give or take, and the most expensive is around 350. Obviously, they vary and there's specials and all that good stuff. But the most expensive one also includes SeaWorld. So that's the one we had at the time. So I will go with that. But I'll kind of start with the Busch Gardens aspect. First and foremost, on those level of passes, I think the very bottom one doesn't include parking. You want to get one step above and include parking, and parking is around $30 or so per trip. So you might as well go one level up, because as soon as you go a couple times, you've already paid for that next step up, if that's still the case for the annual passes. So that's one pro tip. So Busch Gardens, overall, and this is not a breakdown crazy individual on each one. I'm just kind of give you my opinion of our experience for each one and just kind of compare and contrast and what you're getting for that annual pass. So for Busch Gardens, it's the best value in my opinion, especially when you get 2 parks. Now let's hone in on Busch Gardens. The shows are actually pretty good. The ice skating show in particular is something that, especially not at Christmas time, because it gets busy at Christmas times. Everybody wants to go to the ice skating show during Christmas. Go during the summer to the ice skating show. It cools you off. It's really cool. It's kind of like in an auditorium with an ice rink on the stage. So it's really cool. I definitely suggest checking that out. But the rides are top notch. They're high level thrill, and there's so many of them. It's not like, Universal has Velocicoaster or maybe Hagrid's motorbike, very high thrill, but it's more about the IPs and the story in Universal and Disney. Busch Gardens just smacks you in the face with thrill. So, Tigress was a huge one. Shriekra, I never know how to say it. Montu, we rode all those, and then we one day finally rode Cheetah Hunt, and it was just as good as all those. Pro tip, if you have kids, Scorpion is a good one to see if your kid is a thrill seeker or not, because it gives them an upside down loop, but isn't as crazy as intense. And then the new Iron Gwazi we got to ride as a pass holder preview right as it came out when we had the annual passes. That was really solid as well, because you get the good feeling of an old wooden roller coaster with the smoothness of a steel coaster, of a new steel coaster, I should say. So anyway, Busch Gardens, killer stuff. Also really good food and wine festivals and all those good things. The kids area there is a little older, but there's a huge play place. I shouldn't say it's old. The one at SeaWorld is like much newer, so that's why you see the difference, but it's plenty fine with the Sesame Street stuff that is there. But there's a huge play area, and that's something that SeaWorld doesn't have as good of, as big of a play area, I feel like, as Busch Gardens does. So, if you're living in the Tampa area, St. Pete even, you can take your kids there and just have them play in the area for the day. It's worth it for that, especially in the summer. They have some water stuff you can kind of cool off with, as well as a rapids ride if you want to go for the thrill. So Busch Gardens is super solid. Now, adding the SeaWorld makes it a no-brainer in my opinion, because you're at the same price of Universal and Disney on that top level pass, but you're getting Busch Gardens, Adventure Island, the water park, both in Tampa. You're getting SeaWorld. You're getting their park in, I think it's Virginia. Don't quote me. And I think, and then also I think you're getting Sesame Street Land in like near Philly area too. We never went to any of those. We just stayed in Florida. Just getting Busch Gardens and SeaWorld was worth it. Going to SeaWorld, the shows are what it's about. They have good coasters. They have one crazy one where you like lay down, like you're laying flat, like face down. It's pretty wild. But they have really good coasters, but it's more spread out and more shows, the orcas, the dolphins, the sea lions. The first time you go see those shows, they're magical, I'll be honest. They're pretty awesome. They do really well with the events as well. They're kind of similar to Busch Gardens. The holiday events are really cool at both. And with SeaWorld, they have a big lake area. It's really cool during Christmas where they put a lot of light up trees out there as well. But yeah, just having the ability to do SeaWorld in conjunction with Busch Gardens I thought was super valuable. So that's my take. I think that that is the best value for annual passes that you can get. Number 2 is Universal, and I'm gonna say Universal is the easiest high-level experience. I mean, obviously I'm comparing to Disney here, but it's also a lot easier than Disney. It's not so complicated. You can kind of do it in a day or so. Now, we went with one of the lower passes, just has a couple extra blackout dates, but I think we went one up from the lowest on this one, and we wanted to make sure that we had the concerts and events, although we didn't really use much of that, because I think the lowest one didn't have the concerts and events that happen sometimes. I mean, they had like Seal or Marshmallow or different acts that would come through and play at Universal Studios Park. There's a nice stage there and everything. But anyway, my wife and I originally just got the pass for ourselves. We always heard it was more adult and their kids wouldn't like it. Well, we went the first time and immediately wanted to bring the kids. The magic, true magic in a sense, of Harry Potter with all the kids running around and some adults with the robes and the wands, and there's actually interactive stations at both of the Harry Potter sections where you can use your wand to interact with stuff. Super cool. Definitely makes the feeling of magic. So we knew we wanted to bring them right away and live through our kids. But ultimately, you know, I think you don't even need the fast pass and you can really experience it all in about a day or so, maybe 2 for sure. Definitely the ability to hop between both parks. Obviously getting that with the annual pass is crucial because the Hogwarts Express is really cool and it's different on each ride, you know, to the other park. Harry Potter is what takes the cake there, but there's still a lot of other cool stuff, and they've just recently revamped some of the Minions and Despicable Me stuff. There's a Minions Cafe and like a sweet bakery that they added as well. You know, those rides are, that area is really cool. They're adding, I think at the time of this video it's not open yet, but they're adding like a DreamWorks area, probably some Trolls and Gabby's house, or some just various things that they're adding in the kids area, so that's going to be revamped. There's 2 things though I will not ride in Universal anymore, and that is the Simpsons ride. I don't normally get like sick, but that 3D, there's a lot of 3D in Universal, and that 3D just, I mean, it just doesn't work. I literally have to close my eyes, and I'm not normally like that, as well as the Harry Potter Castle, the Forbidden Journey. Now, the first time, to be clear, I did have a butterbeer right before going in, which, by the way, butterbeer, not sponsored on this video at all, the best thing ever. Yes, it's non-alcoholic, but it's like a cream soda with like butterscotch whipped cream topping. It's the best thing you'll ever have, period. Those that know me know that I get like 3 every time I go. But the Forbidden Journey, the 3D there inside the castle is, well, you transition between 3D and real a lot, and it really just didn't sit well with me. I kind of won't, it's such a shame because it's a really awesome ride, and also if you have kids, it does get a little scary with some of the darker stuff of Harry Potter in there. But it's super good ride, but makes me super sick. So the Simpsons ride and the Forbidden Journey, I will not ride because of the motion sickness anymore, which is just weird. I was never like that. However, you know, the other 3D Harry Potter stuff, like the Gringotts one, does not bother me. So that said, Hulk, awesome coaster, super hurt my back. While we're on the negative rides topic, that one's a little tough. My wife almost like passed out on that one too, from your head rattling in between the thing on the ride. So I think it's a little dated at this point. But Velocicoaster is probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite coaster to ride. My daughter's a big thrill seeker, and it's certainly her favorite. And then Hagrid's motorbike is one of the best experiences in terms of like theming and thrill as well too. So those 2 are top notch at Islands of Adventure. So the one other pro tip about Universal, especially getting the annual passes, is we would stay over there sometimes, and we would do dockside and surfside, are relatively cheap. You can really get good deals on those. They also have a room that has like a normal room plus a kind of private bedroom, so it's like 3 double beds so you can get 6 people in. We've done that just to have room with the family. We've also done it with 2 other couples. And it's a cheap hotel. It ranges from 100, 160 a night, give or take, and you can get really good deals there, and you get the transportation. So that's cool. But there are 3 top level hotels. So there's 3 hotels that if you stay at, you do get like the Fast Pass included. Now the Fast Pass on its own is around $100+ per person per day. So it is expensive. But if you stay at the Hard Rock, at the Portofino, or at the Royal Pacific, you actually get those included. So they can be really pricey per night, but we did snag a killer deal at the Royal Pacific one night for around $240. We actually only stayed for 1 night, but you got 2 days of Fast Passes. So for $240 for a family of 4, that was a tremendous value. But sometimes you'll see they're $400, $500, $600 a night. That's because you're getting kind of a $100 per person Fast Pass. If you have that Fast Pass, it is amazing. You don't wait for anything. Obviously, that's the point of it, but sometimes you get them, especially with what Disney's had going on with Genie Plus. It's not as fun of an experience as you'd expect. At Universal, it was. Also, side mention, I love coming through City Walk and into the both of the parks. I think, like I said, it's so easy to experience a high-level experience at Universal. It feels premier like Disney does. A lot of IPs that we know, and it's so much more easy and convenient in comparison to Disney, in my opinion. So I just think it's more stress-free, not totally, it's still a theme park, but more stress-free than Disney. The third one I'm going to talk about is Legoland. Legoland, I'm going to say, is the no need for a pass one. There's a lot of good deals you can get, good combo deals. I think you can really just do this for a day, unless maybe your kids are under 5 or 6 and they just really love the Lego stuff. Then maybe that would change it a little bit. But it is a good park. I think it's worth a trip on a weekday. And particularly, there's nothing wrong with going to this one when it's hot, because they do have a water park in the park. And a lot of the passes you can get with the combo water park, even for a day pass. I highly suggest that, because you can go through the park, take a break halfway or at the end of the day, and cool off in the water park. Tons of water slides, lazy river, all kinds of good stuff. Then you come back into the park, and obviously there's showers and changing stations if you need that. The rides are very small and bland. There's nothing thrill-seeking here really at all. So if you have kids that are a little bit scared, this would be a good place for that. Again, I would definitely recommend younger. When we went, I think our daughters are around like 6 and 8, maybe 5 and 8, whatever they were at the time. And so for them, our oldest was definitely on the brink of being a little, not too old for it, but it was where, you know, wasn't getting as much of a thrill as our younger daughter. But they have a lot of various sections there with the Lego Movie, the Ninjago section. You've got a cool area where they've built Lego replicas of like Las Vegas and Seattle and New York. And that is actually really, I'm not normally into that kind of looking stuff, but that was actually really cool to see, you know, places I know in Lego form. And it's like a little park area in the middle. It was really cool. A lot of food stands around. It's good. Now we did not do the Peppa Pig area, but that does exist. I think it's separately ticketed as well. I think you can do a lot of this in one day. I wouldn't get a pass for Legoland. Our kids did really love it, and I think 6, 7 and under, it's a super worth a visit. But me personally, I would just do it for a day. All right, so Disney, and what I'm going to give for Disney, there's plenty of videos on Disney. I probably could do about 20 videos, and maybe I will in the future. But Disney is the best of never running out of things to do. If you want to get an annual pass, and every time you're kind of going and doing something different, there's just so much at Disney. Now, the rides themselves, you can probably do in a 1, 3, or 4 day trip, but then you factor in all the small shows, all of the restaurants, all of the food and wine festival at Epcot, which is just amazing. You know, drinking around the world there, a lot of people do. They always say, don't go left, because you start in Mexico with the margaritas. But with Disney, you know, I've been to Disney before, and we had rode a lot of the rides, and we came through and did that real fast when we got the passes again, because we've got to get our bang for our buck. But then when we came back, I was so excited to do the restaurants. We tried Space 220, which is a restaurant that makes you feel like you go 220 miles above the Earth's surface and eat kind of in space. It's very immersive. Super awesome experience. The themed restaurants they have there are amazing. Every time we go, we have something new to do. So Disney, I could go all day long. I would say my favorite ride is Guardians of the Galaxy. Tron is too short. Those would being the two newer rides. Rise of the Resistance is great. I'm just a big Star Wars nerd and don't love the new movies. So, but otherwise, you know, I think Disney World is Disney World. There's so much to talk about there. I'm just going to say, for considering an annual pass, you're never going to run out of things to do, and you'll probably always know somebody at Disney, so it gives you the ability to go visit them. So while they're there and experience that with them. So definitely a lot to do, and you know, there's a lot of good value and bang for your buck there because there's just so much to experience and do, and we didn't even talk about all of the shows and the fireworks at the end of the day. Now in Tampa, there's some other honorable mentions for annual passes. ZooTampa, I think it's worth it to go to Busch Gardens because they kind of have a zoo anyway. I would just do that, but if you're going to get a pass to ZooTampa, it is a nice zoo. It is pretty cool. There's also MOSI, the Museum of Science and Industry, which gives you, you know, there'll even be some times where some month you can go down to the Botanical Gardens in St. Pete and do all that kind of stuff. That's a good pass to have, as well as Freedom Boat Club, which I did a whole, I did a 2-year experience on Freedom Boat Club on my channel, so make sure to like and subscribe and go check that out. You can see my opinion on Freedom Boat Club, but that's a great annual pass to have in the Tampa and St. Pete area, or anywhere for that matter. So the last thing I want to talk about is drive time, at least for us north of Tampa. I don't know what this will do for you depending on where you're located, but I'm just going to give you my take on it. So where we are north of Tampa, or just in the Tampa area, I think Busch Gardens is obviously super easy to get to. So the rest of them though, you know, SeaWorld, Universal, and Disney are all mostly down I-4. However, if you're north of Tampa, I suggest just not dealing with the I-4 traffic because it's literally the worst road in the United States, in my opinion. But if you go north and take the kind of country route, it's a little bit less stressful, and it's about the same time because Universal is past SeaWorld and Disney on I-4. Disney, most of the time it's going to make sense to just go I-4. We actually have made it back in about an hour and 15 minutes with no traffic one time from Hollywood Studios to my driveway. So Disney being a little bit earlier on I-4 relative to Tampa was easier for us. And finally, Legoland, it's kind of off, it's off I-4, but you're not dealing with as much of the Orlando portion of I-4, so that's not a bad one to get to at all. So Universal felt like we always had to stay overnight because it's like more of a 2-hour drive for us, whereas Disney, we could do it in about an hour and a half or so. SeaWorld, a little bit in between those two, so it's tough. But it, you know, they are all doable to hop over for a day and back. Universal is just going to be the most taxing if you're anywhere in the Tampa or definitely St. Pete area. So overall, my favorite, or our family's favorite, has been Universal. You know, Disney has been amazing. We currently are holding a Disney Pass now, and we've went, I think, 7 or 8 days already, over a little under halfway into our yearly pass. Disney has been great, but it's a stressful one. It's a lot. There's a lot to do. It's really spread out. Parking at Magic Kingdom is miserable if you're parking. And I'll be sure to make a whole video on each of these so you can see a breakdown of each individual one. But I wanted to give you kind of the comparison of all of them. And our favorite is Universal. Busch Gardens is the most convenient to get to. Disney has a lot of bang for your buck, but it's so spread out. Legoland's not worth the pass. Universal takes it for us because we just got the most magic, most immersive experience with the least amount of stress. Our family really enjoyed all the IPs that were there, you know, with Harry Potter, with Jurassic Park, with some of the superhero stuff that's there. And the upcoming Epic Universe looks absolutely amazing. We'll probably be renewing our annual passes if they have that included as soon as we can when they launch that. But I would just say overall, you know, our kids during these passes were in the 4 or 5-year-old to 10-year-old range. Obviously, they aged up through these passes. Universal was just the best overall experience for us, and we can't wait to get a pass for that again. The one thing I would definitely want to mention, though, with it, whether you agree with me or not, is do not let other people tell you that it's not for young kids. There's Dr. Seuss Land, the DreamWorks stuff, the Minions, so much stuff for young kids there. It's way more convenient. I think Disney, you get a lot of hype up for it, and it doesn't deliver the magic as much as it could sometimes. I mean, it's not, you know, I don't want to sit here and trash on Disney. We love Disney. It's been great. But for us, Universal was more of that magical experience or that immersive experience with less of the stress. So Definitely recommend that. And side note, if you are looking at water parks, Cabana Bay is just the best water park, period, I think, in all of Florida that we've been to. But when you compare it to Disney's Blizzard Beach or Typhoon Lagoon, Cabana Bay, it's newer, but it just takes the cake. It's awesome. So I hope that was helpful, a good guide for you know, if you're moving into the area, if you live here and haven't had any annual passes yet, or just debating an annual pass. I hope that helped you get some insights on what our experience has been having various annual passes and living in the Tampa Bay area. So tell me in the comments below, which pass are you considering? I'm very curious on where everybody's looking, so I can buy the one that you're not, so I can get away from the crowds. But anyway, I am a local real estate agent, so if you're interested in the local market or any of this info, we post a lot of good content on FloridaHomeTool.com, so check that out. Go visit there. You can even get the value of your home on that website. So thanks for tuning in this video. I hope it provided you some value, and I will see you at the parks.